Metal vocals are hard to master. If you've ever felt stuck or if you've hit a plateau, well, you're not alone. Whether it's just hitting those screams, unlocking a new technique, or just like building some power behind it, progress can feel really slow. But in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to break through those barriers, avoid common mistakes, and finally make some progress towards the metal voice you've been chasing for so long. Here we go. First point, warm-ups. We've been talking about this on this channel for a little while now, and well, warm-ups are the most important part of the foundation behind a scream. As a guitarist would tune his guitar before playing it, you have to warm up before doing some vocals, whether it's singing or it's screaming. It doesn't make sense not to warm up before everything, whether it's practice, a show, or whatever. You gotta warm up, okay? I would say start drinking water maybe an hour and a half before your warm-ups. If you can't do that, it's okay. Just drink plenty of water while you are warming up so that everything stays properly lubricated and you can just like feel more comfortable doing everything, right? I've been doing the same warm-ups for a little while now. I'm gonna link the video, so you should see a pop-up up here somewhere. If you do this, it's probably what I've been doing for the longest time as a warm-up. Added some stuff here and there, changed some exercises here and there, but do that one. It's a really good one. And drink water, by the way. Warming up is just like, it's just overall really good to avoid injuries and have the best sound possible. Like I remember not too long ago, I didn't want to warm up. Like I was like, this is pointless. I'm just gonna warm up by screaming. And now that I think about it, that makes no fucking sense at all, right? It's so fucking stupid, but it's what I used to do, and I would sound so much worse than what I sound right now. Warming up was such a game changer for me. The point is just warm up. Okay, next point. I almost even considered not putting this one as a point by itself, but second point is mastering breath control. The diaphragm. You've heard it. If you haven't heard it, gotta look at some tutorials on the basic stuff. Personally, I added to my warm-ups, so this could technically be part of the first point we've made. So what I do is I put my fingers on my side like this, put my fingers on my side, and I push out. If you're pushing with your fingers inside and they're pushed out by the fact that you're breathing out and you're contracting, it's a good sign that you're using your diaphragm properly. It's essential for a good scream, right? So even if you're at the beginning of your screaming journey, warming up and breath control are essential. You gotta do it. Believe me, it's gonna make your progress a lot faster. So third one, you gotta learn when to stop. Because I know practicing at the beginning, you're like, I wanna make as much progress as possible. And I was the same. But what would end up happening is I would over practice, hurt myself, and then the next day it would feel weird in my throat, you know? That's just like over practicing. I would say you can't practice more healthily if you have a good technique. I would say you can't practice more than like an hour to an hour and a half. That means you can't scream for more than 1 hour, an hour and a half. And if you're doing it wrong, which is probably gonna happen at the beginning, right? Because you don't know how to do it and it's perfectly normal, you're probably gonna hurt yourself a lot sooner. So you gotta start learning the difference between being hurt and feeling discomfort. First of all, I gotta say, like if there's blood, guys, if there's blood, gotta stop. You gotta stop. Give it a few days, okay? Like I've never seen blood myself, so you gotta stop if you see blood. That's a really bad sign, okay? But if it starts hurting, gotta stop for the day. Keep hydrating. You'll probably be good for the next day to start working on your vocals, okay? If you feel discomfort, like it's kind of tingly in there, just take a few sips of water. You should be fine. Just guys, be careful. Like if if it hurts, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. And I know it feels bad to stop, even if it's like 5 minutes in your practice session, but it's something you gotta do. Guys, let's be consistent, but let's also be safe in our practice, okay? Also, for that 1 hour to an hour and a half maximum practice time that I was talking about, I've got a tip for you coming in this one. Number 4 is setting up efficient practice sessions. What I mean by efficient is, you gotta plan out what you're gonna practice in the first place, okay? At the beginning, of course, it's normal, you gotta scream over some stuff. But once you really get your foot in the door and you're like, okay, I've been screaming over songs a few days now, or testing out how to scream over songs for a few days. You probably have in mind something that you want to work on. This has to be planned out. If you want to work on a specific techniques, let's say you want to work on your breeze, you got to plan that out, okay? You got to say, tonight I'm working on my breeze, and I'm only going to do that. And working only on one thing and practicing only one specific thing makes the progress so much faster than just like horsing around the whole practice session, right? Since we only have an hour to an hour and a half to make good progress while screaming, we should make the most of it. Now, to make the most of a practice session, we can, and I talked about this before, we can extend the practice sessions to more than an hour and a half. Healthily, by doing whispers. Why would that be important? Whispers are just like screaming, basically. So it's like the closest you are to screaming without screaming, because talking is really different. Your vocal cords are engaged in a totally different way. So whispering, I think, is the closest to what screaming would be without screaming, without engaging your vocal folds. So what that means is you can actually practice your mouth shapes, your tongue placement, your distortion placement. You can practice all of that without screaming, so that when you start screaming, you've fine-tuned your shit, and now you can put the distortion under it so that you can really add the scream in. The rest of the technique will have been worked on beforehand, so that makes the practice sessions a lot more efficient, I think, because for me, that's what I did. And I went from learning screaming, how to get the distortion right, how to project it properly, how to do all that stuff, to knowing tunnels, breeze, and all of that within a year. And I think this technique, whispering, before doing my 30 minutes, 1 hour, 1 hour and a half of real screaming, is the reason why I got so much progress in so little time. This, and the next point as well. Number 5, you gotta track your progress. If you've practiced 2 hours, 2 hours and a half with the techniques I've just mentioned, you gotta know how you sound, you gotta know if you made progress, you gotta have something to compare yourself. And the way to do that is to record yourself. My phone used to be so full of these recordings of just me doing the stuff I practice over and over and over again, trying to sound like this person, trying to sound like this person, trying to sound like this person. Obviously not recommended. Do not try to sound like anybody else, guys. It's stupid. But I was learning, and that's what I would do. Try to just scream, record yourself, and then you can listen to it. And then when you have your other practice sessions coming along in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, you got 12 practice sessions in, then you can hear to all the progress you've made, because you have proof of it. The other thing is when you hear yourself on the phone, it sounds so much different than when you hear yourself screaming. It's really, really different. So recording yourself, analyzing what you've done, and then correcting what you think the mistakes would be is a great way to make some solid progress. There you go, guys. You got this. Keep believing in yourself. You're gonna make some solid progress. This was Thierry from Salem Trials signing out. See you guys in the next video. Ciao.